My girlfriend posted, "Know your worth, queens. Don't settle for less," after rejecting my proposal. I liked the post and added, "Kings too." 6 months later, she saw my engagement announcement. Her panicked call that night revealed, I 29 male. Still can't believe I'm writing this, but here we are. Need to get this off my chest because the last 24 hours have been illuminating. So about 7 months ago, I proposed to my girlfriend, Natalie, 28. We'd been together for 4 years, living together for 2. I thought we were solid. We talked about marriage, kids, the whole future package. She seemed excited whenever the topic came up. I planned this whole romantic evening. Nothing crazy expensive. I'm an accountant, not a tech bro, but meaningful. Took her to the botanical gardens where we had our first date, waited until sunset by the fountain, got down on one knee with a ring I'd saved 6 months for. Classic solitaire, exactly what she'd pointed out she loved. She said no. Not "I need time to think" or "let's talk about this." Just no. Said she wasn't ready. Felt like we were moving too fast after 4 years. Needed to find herself and explore what's out there. I'm standing there with a ring like an idiot while families are watching. The drive home was silent. She moved out 3 days later to stay with her friend Melissa. We were done. Just like that. Here's where it gets interesting. That same night, she posts on social media, "Know your worth, queens. Never settle for less than you deserve. Chaff level up, boss babe, know your value." The comments were exactly what you'd expect. Yes, queen. You deserve the world. Never settle. Her friends hyping her up like she just escaped from prison instead of rejecting someone who loved her. I sat there at 2 a.m. scrolling through this. 4 years. I supported her through her career change, helped her pay off her student loans, was there when her dad got sick. But apparently, I was something to settle for. So I liked the post. Then commented, "Kings too." The silence after that was deafening. She deleted my comment within an hour, but not before mutual friends saw it. Whatever. I went into autopilot mode. Work, gym, sleep, repeat. Deleted social media apps from my phone, focused on myself. Started therapy because why not? Best decision ever, BW. Helped me realize I'd been making myself smaller to make her feel bigger. About 2 months later, my coworker Jenna, 26F, asked if I wanted to grab coffee after a brutal audit we'd survived together. Just as friends, she knew about the breakup. We started hanging out. She was different, direct, knew what she wanted, appreciated things I did instead of always wanting more. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into dating. I kept it quiet because I wasn't trying to rebound, but honestly, it felt like breathing again after holding my breath for years. Fast forward to last week. Jenna and I got engaged. She proposed to me. Actually, said she knew what she wanted and didn't see the point in waiting. I said yes immediately. We posted a simple announcement, just a photo of us hiking with adventure partner for life. Yes. My phone started blowing up with congratulations. Old friends, family, coworkers. It was nice. Then at 11:43 p.m. Natalie called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Hello?" Heavy breathing. Then, "Are you serious right now, Natalie? 6 months, Mason? 6 months and you're engaged?" I stayed calm. "Yes, congratulations are usually customary." "To your coworker? The mousy one from accounting?" "Jenna's not mousy, she's just not loud about her wins. Her name is Jenna, we're very happy." "This is insane, we were together for 4 years. How could you just move on? The same way you did when you rejected my proposal and called it settling." Silence. Then she dropped the bomb. "I didn't think you'd actually move on. I thought you'd wait." Wait for what? And this is where she revealed what the last 6 months had really been about. Update 1. Holy hell, the response to my post. Thanks for all the support. Now for the rest of that phone call, because it gets worse. After I asked, "Wait for what?" There was this long pause. Then she started crying. Not sad crying, frustrated crying. I needed to see what else was out there, okay? Melissa kept telling me about all these guys she was meeting, investment bankers, lawyers, entrepreneurs. She said I was too young to settle down with the first serious boyfriend I had. I laughed, actually laughed. So I was a safety net? No, I wanted to be sure. I thought if I dated around for a year, experienced more, then we could get back together, and I'd know you were the right choice. By rejecting my proposal publicly? I didn't think you'd see the post. We have 137 mutual friends on there, Natalie. She got defensive then. You don't understand the pressure women face. Melissa showed me all these articles about women who married their first serious boyfriend and always wondered what if. I didn't want to resent you later. So instead, you humiliated me and expected me to wait while you test drove other guys? It wasn't like that. I barely dated anyone. Now that was interesting. Barely? More silence. Then, the guys Melissa introduced me to were different than I expected. Turns out Queen Natalie's leveling up journey didn't go as planned. The investment banker only wanted hookups. The lawyer ghosted her after 2 dates when she wouldn't sleep with him. The entrepreneur was actually unemployed and living with his parents, just had a good Instagram game. I realized pretty quickly that what we had was special. I was going to reach out at the 1-year mark, make it seem like I'd grown and was ready. You'd propose again, and we'd live happily ever after based on a lie? It wasn't a lie. I did grow. I learned what I wanted. Yeah, you learned you wanted your backup plan. Sorry, but this safety net found someone who chose me first. She lost it. Started screaming about how Jenna was a downgrade and a rebound. How I was rushing into things to hurt her. How our mutual friends thought it was suspicious how fast I moved on. I stayed calm. Natalie, you ended our relationship. You made it clear I wasn't enough. I respected that and moved on. I found someone who thinks I'm her first choice, not her safe option after testing the market. You're making a huge mistake. She doesn't even know you like I do. You're right. She doesn't know the me who dimmed his light to make someone else comfortable. She knows the version who shows up fully. I like him better. Then she hit me with, when you realize what you've lost and come crawling back, I won't be waiting. Good, because I won't be crawling anywhere. Goodbye, Natalie. I hung up. Thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Update 2. It's been 3 days since the phone call. Buckle up because Natalie and her crew went from 0 to 100 real quick. First, Melissa started. She DM'd Jenna on Instagram before Jenna even knew who she was. The message was a masterpiece of manipulation. Hey girl, just wanted to reach out woman to woman. I'm friends with Mason's ex, and I thought you should know some things about your fiancé. He's clearly using you as a rebound. He was obsessed with Natalie, proposed after hounding her for months. When she said she needed time to think, he basically stalked her social media. Now he's love-bombing you to make her jealous. Don't fall for it. You seem sweet, and you deserve better than being someone's revenge relationship. Jenna showed me immediately. We laughed about it. Then she responded, thanks for the concern, though I'm curious why you're more invested in my relationship than your friend's dating life. How'd those setups work out for her? Melissa blocked her immediately. Meow. But they weren't done. Next came the flying monkeys, mutual friends who suddenly needed to check in on me. Brad, who I hadn't talked to in months. Hey bro, heard about the engagement. Quick turnaround, huh? You sure you're not rushing? My college roommate Derek. Dude, Natalie's really torn up. Maybe you guys should talk? Even my cousin texted. Natalie reached out to me. She's worried about you making impulsive decisions. Maybe slow down? The audacity. I posted one thing on social media. Funny how people who didn't check on you during your healing suddenly care about your happiness. 20 minutes later, Natalie called from a different number. I'd blocked her main one. I answered because I knew this would be good. Mason, we need to talk about this maturely. We really don't. You're clearly hurt and acting out. I get it, but destroying what we had over pride. What we had a relationship where you were apparently shopping for upgrades while keeping me as a backup. We had 4 years where I thought we were building something together while you were waiting for something better. That's destroyed, Natalie. You destroyed it. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. Your mistake was thinking I'd wait around while you figured out if you could do better. My mistake was proposing to someone who was already 1 foot out the door. So you're marrying Jenna out of spite? I'm marrying Jenna because she looked at me and thought, yes, he's the one. No doubts. No, let me see what else is out there. Just yes. She switched tactics. What about everything I helped you through? When you were stressed about your CPA exams? When your mom was sick? I was there. You were. And I was there when your dad had surgery. When you switched careers. when your anxiety was bad. That's what partners do. But it doesn't mean you own my future. I know you, Mason. This isn't you. You don't move this fast. You analyze everything. Maybe that's because I spent 4 years analyzing how to make you happy instead of asking if I was happy. Silence. Then in a small voice, were you not happy? I was happy enough. But enough isn't enough anymore. So that's it? You're throwing away 4 years for someone you've known for a few months? No. I'm choosing to build something new with someone who chose me first. Not as a fallback, not as a safe option, first. When this crashes and burns. If it crashes and burns, it'll still have been more honest than what we had. I hung up again. But the real kicker came yesterday. Update 3. So remember how Natalie was painting herself as the heartbroken ex who just made a mistake? Yeah, about that. Jenna and I were having dinner yesterday when her phone buzzed. Her best friend Rachel sent her screenshots from a dating app. Guess who had a profile? Queen Natalie herself. But here's the thing. The profile was created 5 months ago. 2 months before she rejected my proposal. The bio? Entrepreneur mindset. Looking for someone ambitious who can match my energy. No time for mediocrity. There were screenshots of her conversations telling matches she was recently single and ready to level up in all areas of life. I did the math. She was on dating apps while we were ring shopping, while we were planning our future, while I was saving for her dream ring. Jenna asked if I wanted to see them. I said yes, I needed to. The messages were enlightening. Her talking about how her ex was sweet but lacked ambition, how she needed a man who could provide the lifestyle I deserve, how she was too young to settle for comfortable. One guy asked what ended her last relationship. Her response? I outgrew him. He was content with mediocrity. I need excellence. Mediocrity. 4 years, helping each other through life, building something together. Mediocrity. But the best part? The last activity on the profile was from 3 days ago. After our phone call, after her tears about making a mistake, she updated her photos and bio. Phoenix rising from the ashes. Know your worth and add tax. I sat there staring at these screenshots and just laughed. Not bitter laughter, relief, because I finally saw it clearly. Then, as if the universe wanted to drive the point home, Natalie texted from another new number. Mason, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I'm willing to forgive you for moving on so quickly if we can start fresh. I see now that you needed to feel wanted. And I accept my part in that. We can work through this. She's willing to forgive me? I screenshot that text and finally posted on social media for the first time in months. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Grateful for the lessons and even more grateful for the future. Also, pro tip, if you're gonna play games, make sure you're not leaving receipts on dating apps. Tag Jenna with, thanks for choosing me first, always. My phone exploded. Our mutual friends who'd been getting Natalie's version finally saw the truth. The messages started rolling in. Dude, I had no idea. She told us you ghosted her after the proposal. Wait, she was on dating apps while you were together? Derek called. Bro, I'm sorry. She made it sound like you went crazy after the rejection. I should have known better. Even my cousin texted, well, this is awkward. She definitely left out some details. My bad. But Natalie's response? This is where she really showed her true colors. Final update. It's been a week since everything exploded. Time for the final update because I'm done giving this energy. After my post, Natalie went nuclear. Created a whole Instagram story series about manipulation and gaslighting, how I was weaponizing vulnerability and turning people against her. The woman who was secretly on dating apps while we were together was calling me manipulative. The jokes write themselves. But here's where she messed up. She forgot that Melissa had access to her dating profiles to help optimize them. And Melissa, seeing the tide turn, decided to save herself. She leaked everything to our friend group. Turns out Natalie didn't just create the profile 2 months before rejecting me. She'd been actively dating for 5 months before the proposal. Not just browsing, going on actual dates, telling these guys she was single. There was a whole spreadsheet, I'm not kidding. She and Melissa had a spreadsheet ranking guys by income, job, looks, and husband potential. I was on there too. Ranked 4 in stability, but 11 in lifestyle potential. Number 11. Out of 15, the guy ranked 1? A venture capitalist who turned out to be a crypto bro who lost everything in some meme coin crash. She'd been talking to him for months, planning to monkey branch to him. But when his empire collapsed 2 weeks before I proposed, suddenly I looked better. She rejected my proposal not to find herself, but because she thought she could do better than number 11. When the dating apps didn't deliver the upgrade she wanted, she planned to come back to reliable 11. Melissa sent all of this to our group chat with, "I can't keep lying for her. She used me too." The group chat went silent, then exploded. People were mad, not just at the cheating, but at the manipulation. How she'd made everyone pick sides based on lies. How she'd painted me as the bad guy rushing into a rebound. Natalie tried damage control. Posted about fake friends and betrayal. How everyone was misunderstanding the situation. Then the ultimate victim card. As a woman, I'm not allowed to have standards without being crucified. Standards. That's what she called it. She started losing followers by the hour. The guys she'd been talking to while we were together started sharing their own screenshots. One included her saying she was waiting for her boyfriend to propose so she could see the ring before deciding. She was going to judge whether to say yes based on the ring. Not our relationship, the ring. Then came the final attempt. She showed up at my apartment building. Thankfully, I'd already given security her photo, always thinking ahead now. They called me. "There's a Natalie here demanding to see you. Says it's an emergency." Is she injured or in immediate danger? No, sir. Then it's not an emergency. Please ask her to leave. If she refuses, call the police. She left, but not before causing a scene that multiple residents filmed. One video made it to TikTok, entitled "X Causes Scene at Apartment Building Because Her Backup Plan Got Engaged." It went mini viral. 800K views last I checked. Yesterday, I got a final text from yet another number. "Congrats, Mason. You won. You destroyed my reputation and turned everyone against me. Hope you're happy with your downgrade. When she cheats on you, and she will, remember that you had someone who loved you enough to want to be sure. But you couldn't wait. Your ego couldn't handle it. Enjoy your mediocre life with your mediocre wife. You two deserve each other." I didn't respond. Just forwarded it to my lawyer friend who's been documenting everything in case I need a restraining order. But here's the thing. I am happy. Genuinely, boringly happy. Jenna and I cook dinner together. We laugh at dumb TV shows. She leaves me notes in my lunch. I surprise her with flowers just because it's Tuesday. We're planning a small wedding because neither of us needs to prove anything to anyone. She saw me at my lowest and chose me anyway. I saw her at her most genuine and chose her back. No games, no spreadsheets, no backup plans. Natalie's right about one thing. We do deserve each other. As for her, last I heard, she moved back to her hometown, deleted most of her social media. Melissa posted some vague quotes about learning who your real friends are and growth through adversity. The Instagram post about knowing your worth? Still up. My comment is gone, but the internet remembers everything. Someone made it into a meme template. Know your worth, Queens, followed by screenshots of her dating profile while in a relationship. It's brutal, but I didn't make it or share it. Funny thing about worth, it's not about what you think you deserve. It's about what value you bring. I learned that the hard way. So did she. Anyway, I'm done with this chapter. Wedding planning is actually fun when you're with someone who wants to marry you, not the idea of what you could be manipulated into becoming. To anyone reading this in a similar situation, when someone shows you through their actions that you're an option, not a priority, believe them. Don't wait for them to figure out your value. Find someone who knows it from day one. And yeah, kings, know your worth too. Peace out. Edit. For everyone asking, yes, Jenna knows everything. She read all these posts before I posted them. She laughed at the spreadsheet and said, "Only number 11? Babe, you're clearly a top 3 in the right person's list. She's the real MVP." Also, to the people saying I moved too fast with Jenna, maybe? But when you've spent years in a relationship where you're constantly auditioning for someone's approval, being with someone who just knows is refreshing. We're not kids. We know what we want. Why wait? Final edit. Natalie found this post. Got a long email from a lawyer about defamation and emotional distress. My lawyer friend says it's nonsense. Truth is a complete defense, and I have receipts for everything. She's demanding I take it down and pay her $15 for damages to her reputation. The same reputation she destroyed herself by cheating and lying? Sure, Jan. My lawyer sent back a simple response. All statements are factual and documented. Please cease contact with my client. Any further harassment will result in appropriate legal action. Radio silence since then. Living well really is the best revenge. That and having a fiancé who finds the whole situation as absurdly funny as I do. My fiancé told me, prenups are insults. I'd leave if you mention that again. I said, fair. Then I mentioned it again. In court, during the breakup settlement. I 32M, or I guess was, engaged to Rachel, 29F. We've been together for 2 years, living together for the last one in an apartment I own. On the surface, things were good. Rachel is the kind of woman who lights up a room, charming, quick-witted, and beautiful. We seem to fit. But a foundation, I've learned, can look solid right up until the moment it cracks. Some necessary context. 3 years ago, before I met Rachel, I was a co-founder of a software startup that got acquired. The event changed my financial landscape completely. I'm not ostentatious with it. My life is comfortable, not extravagant. I drive a reliable sedan, and my primary indulgence is a small but growing collection of vintage watches. The bulk of the money from the sale is tied up in long-term managed investments. It's the bedrock of my future. When I proposed 6 months ago, my feelings were genuine. I saw a life with her. But I am, by nature and by profession, a pragmatist. Building that company required foresight and risk management. I see my life no differently. Protecting my assets isn't about a lack of love. It's about a surplus of responsibility to my family, my former partners, and our potential children. So, about a month ago I brought it up, a prenuptial agreement. I chose the moment carefully. A quiet evening at home. I'd made her favorite risotto. I waited until the plates were cleared and we were relaxed. Rachel, I began, keeping my tone gentle, as we're getting deeper into wedding planning, I think it's time we discussed a prenup. The change was instantaneous. It was like a switch being flipped, plunging the warm room into an icy silence. A prenup? She set her wineglass down with a sharp click. Samuel, why? It's not personal, I explained, trying to keep the conversation on track. It's just good financial practice. My assets from before our marriage are complex. A prenup would simply draw a clear line between what's mine, what's yours, and what becomes ours once we're married. Everything we build together from here on out is shared. This just keeps the old stuff separate. She stood, pushing her chair back. No, it separates you from me. It says you don't trust me, that you think I'm just another asset to manage. That's not it at all. It's about preventing future complications for both of us. Her eyes, usually so warm, were narrowed and hard. This is an insult. You're entering a marriage with an exit strategy. It's the most cynical thing I've ever heard. Then she delivered the final word, her voice low and absolute. I am going to say this once. If you ever mention a prenup again, I will walk out that door, and I will not come back. We are building a life on love and trust, not a legal document designed to protect your millions. End of discussion. I looked at her. I saw the hard line she'd drawn. I heard the threat, and I processed it not as an emotional outburst, but as a term of a contract. She had just defined the exact condition for her departure. In that quiet moment, I made my choice. Fair, I said. The single word seemed to diffuse her anger. She took it as my capitulation. Her shoulders relaxed, and she came to hug me. Thank you for trusting me, she whispered. I love you. That's all the security we need. I hugged her back, but the decision was already cemented in my mind. She told me what would make her leave. I decided to grant her wish, just not in the way she expected. I haven't mentioned the prenup since. The wedding planning has continued, and her parents, Gregory and Catherine, have become increasingly involved, their talk peppered with casual mentions of my finances. I used to see it as benign. Now I see it as due diligence on their investment. I have an appointment with my lawyer next week. Not to plan a marriage, but to strategize a dissolution. Update 1. 3 weeks later. The situation has evolved. My meeting with my lawyer, Deborah, confirmed my path was the right one. I laid out the ultimatum, my decision, and my concerns about the inevitable fallout. Her advice was blunt. Prepare for a fight and document everything. People who feel entitled to your money don't just walk away quietly. She was right. The entitlement, once a subtle undercurrent, became a tidal wave after our talk. It was as if defeating the prenup was a green light. The spending started first. The supplementary credit card I gave her for household use suddenly saw a lot of action at designer boutiques. A $4,000 handbag here, a spa weekend with her mother to de-stress from wedding planning there. I didn't confront her. I just paid the balance, reported the card as potentially compromised to the bank, and had it canceled. I told her a new one was on the way. It wasn't. Her parents, Gregory and Catherine, then made their move. They invited me to their country club for dinner, an obvious ambush. Samuel, Gregory began, all false bonhomie and expensive brandy. Catherine and I have been looking at some properties for you two, a marvelous place in the estate section of town, perfect for raising a family. He slid a glossy real estate brochure across the table. The asking price was audacious. It's a beautiful house, but we're a long way from that, I said politely. Catherine's laugh was like ice cubes clinking in a glass. Don't be so modest, Samuel. You have to put that money to work. It's an investment in the family, our family. The possessiveness was suffocating. They weren't just joining my family, they were staging a takeover. The true breaking point, however, was the watch. For my 30th birthday, my grandfather gave me his 1968 Patek Philippe Calatrava. It's my most meaningful possession, an artifact of my family's history. Rachel adored it. Last year, I let her wear it to a gala. A few weeks ago, she asked to borrow it for a charity function. I agreed. She never returned it to my watch box. 2 days ago, I made the request. Hey, I need my grandfather's watch back. I want to take it in for a service. She was at her vanity, applying lipstick. She met my eyes in the mirror, a little smirk playing on her lips. Don't be silly. It looks better on me. Just think of it as mine now. Part of the package. My voice stayed level. Rachel, it's not a fashion accessory. It's a family heirloom. It's not a gift. I need it back. She turned around fully, her expression hardening. Samuel, stop with the yours and mine thinking. What's yours is mine. That's marriage. It's ours now, and it's staying with me. That was the final confirmation. My property wasn't just being used, it was being annexed. So yesterday, I executed the plan. I moved the majority of my liquid assets into new accounts. I changed every password. I documented every step with Deborah. Then I sat Rachel down. Rachel, I said, my voice calm and final. This isn't working. The engagement is over. Her face cycled through shock, disbelief, and then a cold, calculating fury. You're breaking up with me? Because of the prenup? After we agreed? You gave me an ultimatum, I replied evenly. You set the terms for your exit. I'm just respecting your wishes. She went from furious to glacial in a second. You have no idea what you've just done, Samuel. You will regret this. She immediately called her father. I could hear his enraged, muffled voice from across the room. She packed an overnight bag, mostly with things I'd bought her, and left. This morning, the first email from her lawyer arrived. He's a senior partner at a firm known for turning divorces into blood sport. They're coming, but they're going to find out that while I'm a quiet man, I am not a weak one. And the first item on my lawyer's agenda is a formal demand for the return of my watch. Update 2. 1 month later. It's been a month of strategic warfare. The Vaughn's opening salvo was a demand letter that was a masterclass in audacious fiction. Their lawyer, a shark named Mr. Patrick, isn't stupid. His strategy isn't based on easily disproven lies, but on twisting facts and leveraging the threat of a long, public, and expensive fight. They aren't claiming half my net worth. They're smarter than that. They're demanding a significant settlement in recognition of Rachel's sacrifices and contributions to the marital partnership. This includes career sacrifice, claiming she put her event planning career on the back burner to support my demanding lifestyle and social obligations. Equitable interest in the home, arguing that for the year she lived in my apartment, her unpaid labor as a household manager and decorator created equitable interest for which she should be bought out to the tune of $250,000. Facilitating business. This was their big play. They claim a specific successful angel investment I made was the direct result of a dinner party Rachel hosted, where she, astutely and purposefully, introduced me to a key investor. They aren't saying she had the idea, but that she created the opportunity. Lifestyle maintenance and emotional distress. a lump sum of $1.5 million to allow her to maintain the lifestyle she has become accustomed to, and for the emotional trauma of a broken promise. And of course, the Patek Philippe is listed as a gift, symbolizing the promise of marriage, and is therefore her property. The smear campaign began subtly. Posts from Catherine about the hollowness of new money, and Gregory mentioning to mutual acquaintances how disappointed he was that my character wasn't as strong as my portfolio. This has been stressful, I won't lie. There was a night last week where I was up until 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of it all. It felt like an attack on all fronts. For a fleeting moment, I understood why people settle. The thought of just writing a check to make it all go away was tempting. It felt like my life had been turned into a hostile takeover bid. I called Deborah the next day, feeling defeated. "Maybe we should just make them an offer," I said. "Let me ask you something, Samuel," she said, her voice firm. "The investment they're talking about, the dinner party, what's the real story?" "The dinner happened," I admitted. "She did introduce me to the guy, but the groundwork for the deal was already laid. I had been in talks with his company for weeks. The dinner was just a social thing, a formality." "Can you prove it?" she asked. I spent the next 2 hours digging through old emails. And I found it. A chain of emails between myself and the investor, outlining the principles of the deal. The final email, where we agreed to move forward, was dated 1 full week before Rachel's dinner party. My moment of despair vanished, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. But Deborah pointed out a weakness. "They can still argue the dinner solidified the deal. It's a gray area they'll try to exploit. They're trying to build a narrative of contribution, no matter how flimsy." So, we crafted our counteroffensive. We didn't just deny their claims, we devalued them and created our own leverage. For her household management, we compiled invoices from the weekly cleaning service and the interior decorator I hired before she moved in. For her career sacrifice, we pulled her social media, which was filled with posts from the last year about exciting new projects and loving the hustle. And for the watch, we escalated. Deborah sent a formal letter to Mr. Patrick demanding the immediate return of the timepiece. When they replied that it was a gift, we moved to the next step. Deborah filed a writ of replevin, a formal civil action to force the return of unlawfully held property. It's not a criminal complaint, but it's a separate, expensive legal battle that Rachel would have to fight, and one she would almost certainly lose. They've rejected our counteroffer, which was for her to take her belongings and leave, and pushed for mediation. They think they can intimidate me in person. The date is set for next Tuesday. They believe their case has just enough plausibility to make me bleed. They're about to find out how badly they've miscalculated. Final update, 1 week later. It's over. I'm in my apartment. It's silent, except for the soft ticking of a 1968 Patek Philippe Calatrava sitting on the desk beside me. The weight of it feels different now. Not just a connection to my past, but a symbol of a future I just secured. The mediation yesterday was like a play where only half the cast knew the ending. We were in a sterile conference room, me and Deborah on one side, Rachel, her parents, and their lawyer, Mr. Patrick, on the other. Rachel wore an outfit that probably cost more than my first car, a costume of wronged luxury. Gregory sat like a bulldog, all simmering rage. Catherine was the picture of tragic motherhood. Mr. Patrick began, weaving a narrative of my fiancé's broken heart and broken promises. He spoke of her unwavering support, her critical social contributions, and the equitable partnership she believed she was building. He painted me as a cold manipulator who used her love and then discarded her at the first mention of fairness. He presented their reasonable demands as a way for me to do the right thing. When he finished, Deborah let the silence stretch for a beat. Then she opened her file. "Mr. Patrick," she began, her voice calm and clear, "my client is indeed here to honor a promise, the one Miss Rachel Vaughn made to him." She looked directly at Rachel. "On the evening of April 28th, you told my client, if you ever mention a prenup again, I will walk out that door and I will not come back. You presented this as a non-negotiable term of your relationship. My client has simply chosen to accept your terms. The topic was raised again in your legal filings, and so we are here to facilitate your departure, as you requested." The color drained from Catherine's face. Gregory's jaw tightened. Deborah then moved on to the claims. Point by meticulous point, she dismantled their narrative. She presented the invoices from the cleaners and decorator, reducing the $250,000 household manager claim to absurdity. She put up screenshots of Rachel's own social media posts, boasting about her career achievements during the time she was supposedly sacrificing it. Then she addressed the linchpin of their financial claim: the dinner party. "We don't dispute that Ms. Rachel Vaughn hosted a lovely dinner," Deborah conceded, which made Mr. Patrick sit up straighter. "However," she continued, sliding a folder across the table, "this is a printed chain of emails between my client and the investor in question. As you can see from the timestamps, an in-principle agreement was reached a full 7 days prior to the dinner party your client hosted. The dinner was a social pleasantry, not a business catalyst. Her contribution was that of a gracious hostess, for which my client was and remains thankful. The value of that contribution, however, is not $1.5 million. Mr. Patrick's face went rigid as he read the emails. He knew he'd lost his main leverage. But Deborah wasn't done. She saved the watch for last. "Finally, there is the matter of the Patek Philippe," she said. "It was a gift," Rachel insisted, her voice cracking. "We disagree," Deborah said flatly. She then slid another document across the table. It wasn't a police report. It was something far more effective. "This," she said, "is a filed copy of the writ of replevin we initiated to secure the return of my client's property. It is now a formal court matter. As you know, Mr. Patrick, ignoring a court order to return property can result in charges of civil contempt. But it gets more complicated." She leaned forward slightly. "My client's assets, including this specific watch, are covered by a high-value insurance policy. The policy requires him to cooperate fully in the recovery of any lost or stolen items. By filing this writ, we have fulfilled our obligation. If your client refuses to comply with the court order, we will proceed with an insurance claim. And then, the insurer's legal department, with their essentially unlimited resources, will exercise their right of subrogation. They will come after Ms. Rachel Vaughn, not just for the value of the watch, but for all associated legal fees. I can assure you, their lawyers are much more aggressive and much less pleasant to deal with than I am." The checkmate wasn't a threat of jail. It was the threat of financial annihilation at the hands of a corporate giant. Gregory, the supposed titan of business, understood immediately. He looked at his daughter with utter fury, not for what she did, but for how badly she had failed. He was staring at a bottomless money pit of legal fees. Mr. Patrick held up a hand. "Can we have a moment?" They left. The shouting that came through the door this time was not muffled. It was raw and panicked. 20 minutes later they returned, defeated. "My clients withdraw all financial claims," Mr. Patrick said, his voice devoid of all its earlier bravado. "Miss Rachel Vaughn will return the watch and retrieve her personal belongings by Friday." And that was it. Rachel had the watch delivered by courier this morning. She's moving her things out tomorrow. I don't feel triumphant. I just feel a profound sense of relief. The quiet in my apartment feels earned. They didn't want a marriage based on love. They wanted a merger. And when I refused to sign their contract, they tried to stage a hostile takeover. They learned today that I will always protect my investments, especially the ones that have nothing to do with money. After an argument, my girlfriend posted my private medical records online to humiliate me. I didn't reply. Instead, I had my lawyer send her a "see you in court" email. The post vanished and she was left frantically leaving tearful voicemails begging me to call it off. I'm 29 male. For 2 years, I thought my relationship with Amanda, 27, was the real deal. I genuinely believed we were on the same team. I learned last week that we weren't even playing the same sport. It all detonated over something that should have been a non-issue. I have an autoimmune condition. It's a daily grind of chronic pain and fatigue that I manage, but some days it wins. Last Saturday was one of those days. We had a friend's barbecue to go to, and I told Amanda I just couldn't. The pain was too intense. I needed to stay home and rest. She lost it. It wasn't just disappointment, it was contempt. She called me lazy, an attention seeker. and accused me of using my illness as an excuse to avoid her friends. The argument got heated, and she said some things that cut deep, calling my condition convenient and me pathetic. Then she stormed out, slamming the door so hard the photos on the wall rattled. I was too hurt and exhausted to even process it. I took my medication and crashed on the sofa. Hours later, I woke up to my phone buzzing like a trapped hornet. A flood of texts, DMs, missed calls. My friend Timothy sent a screenshot with the text, "I am so sorry, man. What is she doing?" I opened the image and the world went quiet. It was a public post from Amanda. She had taken a photo of a diagnostic letter from my specialist, a letter I kept in a folder in my desk drawer. It detailed my specific autoimmune disorder, the medications, the long-term outlook, my private, vulnerable truth. Above the photo, she'd written, "For everyone who's ever wondered why my boyfriend is so flaky and always cancels plans, here's why. Apparently he has a super serious and very real condition, or maybe he's just the best actor I know. You be the judge. #drama queen, man-child, someone's get this Guyano scar." I felt a hot, dizzying wave of nausea. This wasn't anger, not yet. It was profound shock, humiliation. The feeling of being emotionally naked in a town square. My name wasn't on the letterhead, but it didn't need to be. Our friends, colleagues, and acquaintances all knew. My first instinct wasn't to scream or call her. It was to take meticulous screenshots. The post. Every single comment, the ones from her friends egging her on, and the few from my friends trying to defend me. I saved everything to a secure folder. The initial shock slowly began to curdle into a cold, hard knot of anger in my stomach. This wasn't a mistake. This was a deliberate act of cruelty. I spent the rest of the night in a daze. The next day, I didn't go to work. I just sat there, thinking. A conversation wouldn't fix this. An apology wouldn't erase it. This was a violation so deep that it required a response she couldn't ignore or manipulate. I spent hours researching privacy and defamation lawyers. I found a reputable firm and filled out their consultation form, attaching the evidence. I didn't expect a reply for days, but a paralegal emailed me back that afternoon to schedule a call with one of their lawyers, a Mr. Ronald, for the following day. The call was sobering. Mr. Ronald was professional and direct. He confirmed that what Amanda had done was a serious civil offense, public disclosure of private facts, with a strong case for defamation given the mocking caption. He laid out a path forward. He didn't promise a massive payday or a dramatic courtroom victory. He talked about strategy. His first recommended step wasn't a lawsuit. It was a formal cease and desist letter. It would be sent via email and registered post. It would demand the immediate and permanent removal of the post, a formal apology, and it would state that we reserve the right to pursue full legal damages if the demands weren't met. It was the first official shot across the bow. "I want to proceed," I told him, my voice steady for the first time in 24 hours. "She needs to understand that this isn't a game." The letter was sent that afternoon. For about 4 hours, silence. Then the post vanished. My phone lit up a minute later. It was Amanda. I stared at her name, then hit decline. It went to voicemail. Voicemail 1, panicked. "Brian? What was that email? My dad saw it. He's freaking out. A lawyer? Are you serious? I took the post down. Look, it's gone. This is insane. You're taking this way too far. Call me back. This is a huge misunderstanding." Another call. Voicemail. Voicemail 2, voice shifting from tears to indignation. "A lawsuit? Are you really threatening to sue me? It was a stupid joke, Brian. I was mad. You can't do this to me. My parents will lose their minds. This could mess up my career. Just call me. We can fix this, please." The voicemails kept coming. Each one was a master class in non-apology. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was terrified of the consequences. And as I listened to her panic, that cold knot in my stomach solidified into resolve. This was the right path. This was the only path. Update 1. Hey everyone. Thank you for the supportive comments. It's been a draining week, but your messages have been a bright spot. I'm still not talking to Amanda. As per Mr. Ronald's advice, all communication must go through him. This has not gone over well with Amanda's family. The voicemails continued for 2 days. I have them all saved. After the tearful begging failed, the tone shifted to anger and entitlement. One gem was, "I'm the one who looks like a psycho now because you couldn't just talk to me. You've made this so much worse." The lack of self-awareness is a marvel. Then, her father, George, got involved. He didn't call me. He's too smart for that. He sent me an email. The subject line was a misunderstanding. The email was patronizingly friendly. He called the incident an unfortunate overreaction. On my part, he wrote about how Amanda was deeply distraught and had learned her lesson. He then suggested that we should all handle this like adults and put it behind us for the sake of the wonderful relationship Amanda and I had. He finished by saying that dragging lawyers into a simple lover's quarrel was unnecessary and would only lead to unpleasantness for everyone involved. The subtext was crystal clear. It wasn't an overt threat, but it was an unmistakable warning. I forwarded it to Mr. Ronald, who called it beautifully arrogant and a textbook example of someone who thinks they can smooth things over without taking any real responsibility. Amanda's response to the cease and desist via an expensive-looking lawyer of her own came 2 days later. It was dismissive. They acknowledged the post was taken down but refused a formal apology. Her lawyer claimed the post was a momentary lapse in judgment, and that my refusal to communicate directly was evidence of my intent to escalate for financial gain. They essentially told us to get lost. Mr. Ronald's reaction was calm. "Good," he said. "They've put their position in writing. They're refusing to take this seriously. Now we can proceed to the next step. Filing the lawsuit is a big step. It's expensive and it's public." I hesitated for a moment, wondering if this was really what I wanted. Then Amanda made the decision for me. A mutual friend, who is more my friend than hers, sent me another screenshot. This time, it was from a private group chat that Amanda was in. She had posted a long message, a carefully crafted narrative painting herself as the victim. In this version, she wrote that she'd been worried sick about my increasingly erratic behavior and reliance on painkillers. She claimed she posted the letter in a moment of desperation, hoping one of our friends who is a doctor might see it and offer advice because I was so scared. She then wrote that my lawsuit was a vindictive and manipulative attempt to extort money from my family because I was jealous of her career success. Reading those calculated lies, seeing her twist my chronic illness into an addiction narrative to save her own skin, any hesitation I had evaporated. She wasn't just refusing to apologize. She was actively trying to destroy my reputation to anyone who would listen. I called Mr. Ronald. "File it," I said. "Let's move forward." The lawsuit is being drafted. It's no longer just about a humiliating post. It's about a systematic refusal to accept responsibility and a malicious campaign to rewrite the truth. They think this is a game of PR. They're about to find out it's a game of evidence. Update 2. Hello again. It's been a while. The wheels of justice grind slowly, and the last 2 months have been a masterclass in frustration and resolve. The lawsuit was officially filed, and Amanda was served at her apartment. No dramatic scene at her office. Mr. Ronald advised against anything that could be painted as deliberately inflammatory. The real fireworks started after she was served. About a week later, I was called into a meeting with my boss and a manager from HR. My stomach dropped. I knew what this was. I had been preemptively warned by Mr. Ronald that this might be their next move. HR had received a complaint. It was filed by an anonymous source expressing concern about a pattern of unstable and aggressive behavior from me in the workplace. It vaguely referenced my health struggles and how they might be impacting my judgment and temperament. The language was slick, corporate, and clearly written by a lawyer to cause maximum damage while maintaining plausible deniability. George's email about unpleasantness wasn't a bluff. This was the moment I had dreaded. But I was prepared. I walked into the meeting with a file. I didn't get emotional. I calmly laid out the facts for my boss and the HR manager. I showed them a printed copy of Amanda's social media post. I showed them the cease and desist and her lawyer's dismissive response. I explained that I had just filed a lawsuit and that this anonymous complaint was, in my view, a clear act of retaliation. The HR manager's face was unreadable. He didn't immediately take my side. He listened, collected my documents, and said, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Brian. We take all complaints seriously. We will look into this." My boss was more sympathetic, but told me to keep my head down and focus on work. It was terrifying. For 2 weeks, I worked under a cloud of suspicion. I felt like every email I sent, every conversation I had was being scrutinized. It was a calculated move to destabilize me, to isolate me, and to potentially get me fired to discredit my lawsuit. The next attack was more personal. My younger sister, Melissa, called me, confused and upset. Amanda had contacted her on social media. She didn't call, which would have been too direct. She sent a long, rambling message full of feigned concern. She spun the same lie she'd put in her group chat, that I was abusing medication, that she was scared for me, that I was unstable. She begged my sister to talk some sense into me and get me to drop this horrible lawsuit that was destroying her. This was the move that truly severed the last thread of any past affection I might have had. Trying to manipulate my family, to turn my own sister against me by painting me as an addict, it was vile. I sat down with Melissa, showed her everything, the post, the emails, the legal documents. She was furious on my behalf. "She's not just a bad ex-girlfriend, Brian," she said. "She's a genuinely bad person." Meanwhile, the legal battle churned on. Amanda's lawyers filed their response to our suit. It was a work of fiction. They claimed the post was intended for a small, private audience. It was public. That her caption was an expression of concern. It was mockery. And that my condition wasn't private because I had told a few close friends about it. They then filed a frivolous countersuit against me for malicious prosecution and causing emotional distress. Mr. Ronald was unfazed. He told me that these aggressive, baseless tactics were common for defendants with no real defense. "They are trying to make the process so expensive and so miserable for you that you give up," he explained. "Our job is to show them that we will not." The attempt to get me fired failed. After 2 agonizing weeks, HR concluded their review. The official feedback was a sterile email stating that the complaint could not be substantiated. The cloud over my head lifted, but the stress had taken its toll. This entire process was affecting my health, which was the ultimate irony. They were trying to bury me. But every malicious email, every lie to my family, every baseless legal filing was just another piece of evidence. They thought they could grind me down. They didn't realize they were just handing my lawyer more ammunition. Final update. Hey everyone, this will be my final update. The past 6 months have been a slow, quiet, and brutal war of attrition fought through legal documents and scheduled proceedings. It's finally over. We settled out of court a month ago. For anyone hoping for a public trial, I understand the appeal. But Mr. Ronald explained that a settlement gave us control, certainty, and a better outcome than risking the unpredictability of a trial. He was right. The tipping point was the deposition phase. My deposition was grueling, but I stuck to the facts. Amanda's was a disaster for her case. Under oath, confronted with her own social media posts, emails, and the timeline of her actions, her stories fell apart. Mr. Ronald didn't grill her dramatically. He just calmly asked her to reconcile her claim that the post was a cry for help with the mocking hashtags she used. He asked her to explain why her concerned message to my sister was sent after my lawsuit was filed. There was no big breakdown, just a series of long, damning silences and muttered, "I don't recall," that were recorded by the stenographer. Her father George's deposition was even more revealing. When presented with his friendly email, he was forced to admit under oath that he had tried to intervene in a pending legal matter. It completely undermined their entire narrative that they were the victims of an aggressive lawsuit. Shortly after the depositions, their lawyer called ours. They wanted to settle. The first offer was insulting. They'd pay a portion of my legal fees. We refused. The negotiations dragged on for weeks. They fought over every single point, but the evidence was overwhelmingly in our favor. They had no real defense, only bluster, and they knew a jury would likely see right through it. Here are the final terms of the settlement. The financial consequence. The settlement they paid was substantial. I can't disclose the number, but it was a solid 6-figure sum. It's not never work again money, but it is enough to cover all my legal expenses, create a significant emergency fund specifically for my medical needs, and provide a down payment for a small apartment. It's security, it's peace of mind. Mr. Ronald successfully argued that the amount should reflect not just the initial act, but the documented campaign of harassment and attempted reputational damage that followed. The written admission. This was my non-negotiable term. Amanda had to sign a formal, legally binding statement. It wasn't a fluffy apology. It was a factual document, reviewed by both legal teams, that states she publicly disclosed private medical information without consent, that her accompanying public statements were defamatory in nature, and that she retracts any and all false claims made about my character to third parties. It is a powerful document. It's my insurance. If she or her family ever breaches the non-disparagement clause of our agreement, I am free to make that signed admission public. The natural fallout. I haven't sought out information about her, but a few things have trickled back to me. Her social media is now completely private. The friend who sent me the group chat message mentioned that Amanda's circle of friends fractured badly over this. Some were disgusted when they learned the truth. Others just didn't want to be associated with the drama. I don't know if she lost her job, and I don't care to know. Her life is her own mess now. My concern is my own peace. As for me, I'm recovering. This process was brutal. It took a significant toll on my mental and physical health. There was no single moment of triumph, no fist-pumping victory. When Mr. Ronald called to tell me they'd accepted our final terms, I didn't feel elation. I just felt quiet. The tension I'd been carrying in my body for 8 months began to unwind, and I was just exhausted. The betrayal left a scar. I'm more cautious now, slower to trust. The world feels a bit sharper edged than it did before, but I'm moving forward. I'm focusing on my health, my work, and the real friends who supported me without question. I stood up for myself. I saw it through to the end, and I achieved a real, tangible form of justice. It wasn't easy or clean, but it was necessary. I refused to be a victim, and in the quiet aftermath, I'm finding my way back to being myself. Thank you all for listening. My girlfriend texted her ex, "I miss how you used to touch me. He's so boring." She left her phone in my car. I forwarded the message to her mom and added, "Thought you should know why I'm returning her house key." She showed up at my work the next day, furious that I'd ruined her relationship with her family. I, 28 male, thought I'd found something real with Sarah, 26. We'd been together for 2 years, living together for 6 months. Her family loved me. Her mom literally called me the son she never had at Thanksgiving. I helped her dad fix his deck last summer. Her little sister asked if I'd teach her to drive when she turned 16. Funny how fast that changes. Last Tuesday, Sarah left her phone in my car after I dropped her at work. She was rushing because she was late for a meeting. I didn't notice until I parked at my office and heard it buzzing under the passenger seat. I grabbed it to text her I had it. We knew each other's passcodes, no big deal. But when I picked it up, a notification was already on the screen. "Jake, last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about how you taste." My hands went cold. Jake was her ex. The toxic one she'd supposedly blocked everywhere after we got together. The one who manipulated and used her. The one whose name made her face scrunch up in disgust whenever someone mentioned him. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, just staring at the notification. Then I unlocked her phone. Their conversation went back 3 months. 3 fucking months. Some highlights. "Derek's sweet, but God, he's so vanilla. Remember that thing you did with the ice cubes? I fake it with him sometimes. With you, I never had to. He wants to watch documentaries and cuddle. I miss when you just grab me and..." I'll spare you the details. "I love him, but I'm not in love with him anymore. You ruined me for nice guys, lol." The most recent exchange from that morning. "Sarah, can't wait for Thursday. Derek has a work thing. Told him I'm doing girls' night with Jess. Wear that black dress. Actually, don't wear anything. You're terrible. You love it. I miss how you used to touch me. He's so boring." I screenshot everything, every single message. Then I noticed something else. She'd been deleting their conversations and resaving his number under different names. Pizza delivery. Spam risk. Work IT. Girl was running a whole spy operation. I sat there trying to process it. 2 years. I'd helped her through her dad's cancer scare, paid for her car repairs when she was broke, held her hair back when she got food poisoning on our anniversary trip, and for 3 months she'd been fucking Jake. I could have confronted her, could have blown up her phone, could have driven to her office and caused a scene. Instead, I forwarded that last screenshot to her mom. Thought you should know why I'm returning Sarah's house key. She left her phone in my car. Then I forwarded it to her dad. Then her sister. Then our mutual friend group chat. All with the same message. Was it petty? Sure. Did I care? Not even a little. I drove home, packed her stuff into boxes, and left them on the porch. Changed the locks. She wasn't on the lease, my apartment. Blocked her on everything. Called my buddy who's a lawyer to make sure I wasn't doing anything illegal. He laughed and said, "Screenshots of her own messages? You're golden." Then I went to work and turned off my phone. Update 1, I turned my phone back on around 3 p.m. It buzzed like an angry hornet for a solid minute. 87 missed calls, over 100 texts, a dozen voicemails. Most were from Sarah, but a solid chunk came from Jake. Yeah, the ex had the balls to call me. His texts were a masterpiece of douchebaggery. "Bro, we need to talk man to man. You don't understand the situation." She came on to me. "Don't be a bitch about this." Sarah's text started apologetic. "Baby, please let me explain. It's not what it looks like. I love you." Then shifted to angry. "You had no right to go through my phone. How dare you tell my family? This is between us." Then went full psycho. "I'm going to ruin your life. You're going to regret this. Jake knows people. Her mom called once, left a voicemail. Derek, honey, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Her father is, well, just know you're always welcome here. Sarah won't be for a while." Her sister texted, "Holy shit, Derek. Mom made her give back the necklace Grandma left her. Dad hasn't spoken a word since he saw the messages. Are you okay?" The friend group chat exploded. Turns out I wasn't the only one she'd been lying to. Our friend Mia revealed Sarah had been using her as an alibi for months. Told Mia she was seeing a therapist for anxiety every Thursday evening. Mia thought she was being supportive by covering for her. But here's where it gets interesting. Around 4 p.m., I get a call from building security at my office. "Mr. Henderson, there's a Sarah here in the lobby. She's causing a disturbance and demanding to see you. We've asked her to leave, but she's refusing. We're about to call the police, but she's insisting she just needs to speak with you." My heart pounded, but I kept my voice level. "Don't call the cops yet. I'm coming down." I went down with 2 coworkers as witnesses. Shout out to Tom and Linda from accounting. Sarah was in the lobby looking like a tornado hit her. Mascara everywhere, hair a mess. Still in her work clothes but disheveled. A security guard was standing a few feet away, arms crossed, looking ready. The second she saw me, she launched. "How could you?" "How could I what, Sarah? You ruined my relationship with my family. My dad won't even look at me. My mom took back Grandma's necklace. I sent them screenshots of your own messages. Those were private. So was our relationship, supposedly." She actually stamped her foot like a toddler. "You don't understand. Jake and I have history. Had. You had history. We have history too. 2 years of it. It's not like that. I love you. You told him I was boring. I didn't mean you've been fucking him for 3 months, Sarah." The security guard stepped forward slightly. "Good man." Sarah switched tactics. Tears. "Please, baby, we can work through this. Couples therapy, whatever you want. What I want is for you to leave." "Where am I supposed to go? You locked me out. My stuff is in boxes on the porch, like I texted you 3 hours ago. This is illegal. I live there." "No, you don't. You're not on the lease. You don't pay rent. Legally, you're a guest who's overstayed their welcome." She lost it. Started screaming about how I was a pathetic, boring little man, and how Jake was twice the man I'd ever be, and how she faked every orgasm anyway. Security stepped in. "Ma'am, that's enough. You need to leave now, or we are calling the police." He meant it. She looked at me with pure hatred. "This isn't over." "Yeah, Sarah, it is." She stormed out, but not before kicking over a potted plant. Real mature. Tom from accounting bought me a beer after work. "Dude, that was brutal." Linda added, "The part about Grandma's necklace, savage. I felt empty, like not sad, not happy, just done." Got home to find all the boxes gone from the porch. Also found my spare tea, the one I'd given her, shoved under the mat, bent in half. She'd tried to break it in the lock first. There were scratch marks on the door. Ordered Chinese food. Watched a documentary about serial killers. Slept better than I had in months. But she was right about one thing. It wasn't over. Update 2. Remember when I said Jake texted me about talking man to man? Well, Thursday rolled around, their planned hookup day, and guess who showed up at my apartment? I was making dinner when I heard aggressive knocking. Checked the peephole. Jake, 6'2", gym bro, neck tattoo. The whole package. I didn't open the door, just talk through it. Can I help you? Open the door, Derek. We need to talk. We're talking now. Don't be a pussy. I'm not opening the door, Jake. Fine, here's the deal. You're gonna fix this shit with Sarah's family. Tell them you made it all up. I actually laughed. Made up screenshots of her actual texts. I don't give a fuck about the technicalities. Her dad's threatening to cut her off. Her trust fund man. That affects me. And there it was. Jake wasn't there for love, he was there for money. Not my problem. I'll make it your problem. Jake, I'm recording this conversation. You're on camera threatening me at my home. I suggest you leave before I call the police. Silence. Then, this isn't over. Why does everyone keep saying that? He left, but not before spitting on my door. Class act. I did call the police. Filed a report. Officer said unless Jake actually did something, they couldn't do much. But having the report on file would help if things escalated. Friday morning, I woke up to texts from a number I didn't recognize. Hi Derek, this is Emma. I found your number in Jake's phone from the texts he sent you. He saved you under asshole from work. I think we should talk. Oh no. See, Jake wasn't just Sarah's ex. Jake was apparently in a relationship for 2 years. Living with someone. Emma and I met for coffee. She was nothing like I expected. Quiet, professional, worked as a nurse. She looked exhausted. I had a feeling, she said, staring at her latte. He guards his phone like Fort Knox. Always working late, always at the gym, always something. I showed her the screenshots. She didn't cry, just nodded slowly. He told me Sarah was stalking him, said she couldn't let go. I actually felt sorry for her. We talked for 2 hours. Turns out Jake had been playing both of them, plus who knows who else. Emma had access to his iPad, synced messages. The dude had 5 different women on rotation, all thinking they were special. I pay half his rent, Emma said quietly. Have for a year, he told me he was investing his money in crypto. What are you going to do? What are you doing? Already done. Ended it, moved on. Then I guess I know what I'm doing too. We exchanged numbers. Not in a romantic way, more like survivors of the same disaster. That night, Jake's Instagram stories were interesting. Lots of posts about fake friends and snakes and karma coming for people. Then Sarah started posting. Motivational quotes about rising above and knowing your worth, and when God removes people from your life. My favorite was, sometimes the trash takes itself out. The irony was lost on her. Saturday morning, I get a text from Sarah's mom. Derek, I wanted you to know we're getting Sarah into therapy. This isn't the daughter we raised. I'm sorry you got caught in her mess. Take care of yourself. I felt bad for her parents. They're good people. But then Sarah did something I didn't expect. She went nuclear. Update 3 Monday morning. I walk into work and my boss calls me into his office immediately. Derek, we need to talk about some concerning allegations. My stomach dropped. Apparently, someone had sent an anonymous email to HR claiming I had been sexually harassing a coworker and creating a hostile work environment. The email included screenshots of texts that were supposedly from me, saying explicit things to a female colleague. Problem was, the texts were clearly fake. Wrong phone number format. Grammar I'd never use. And the kicker, they were dated from when I was on a documented work trip in another state. My boss actually looked embarrassed. Look, we have to investigate any complaint. Our IT guys took one look at it. The email came from a burner account sent from a public IP address. They can't prove who sent it, of course, but the timing is a little too perfect. Between you and me, we don't need a detective to figure this out. I pulled out my phone and gave him the short version. The cheating, the confrontation at the office which security had on camera, Jake showing up at my place. Jesus Christ, he muttered. You need to file a police report about this. This is harassment. HR cleared me by lunch. They even offered to help with legal documentation if I pursued a restraining order. But Sarah wasn't done. The next few days were a blur of petty nonsense. Someone reported my car as abandoned. It wasn't. My ex before Sarah were still friends, sent me a screenshot of a fake Tinder profile of me with a bio saying I was into some really dark stuff. Each attempt was getting sloppier, more desperate. But the real karma came that Friday. I'm at home when I get a call from Mia, from our friend group. Dude, you need to check Sarah's Facebook. Now. Sarah had gone on a full social media rant, posted a novel-length status about how I was abusive and controlling, and how Jake had been helping her escape a toxic situation. But she forgot one crucial detail. She was still logged into her Facebook on her work computer, and her company monitors social media usage during work hours. And she'd been posting this stuff, plus messaging Jake during company time. For months. Her boss was friends with several people in our social circle. He saw the post. He asked his IT department to check her activity logs. They found hundreds of hours of personal social media use, including explicit messages during work hours. She was fired by end of day for gross misconduct and misuse of company property. The best part? Jake dumped her that same night. Emma had kicked him out, and her lawyer's sister had already sent him a letter demanding he pay back the rent he owed. When he realized Sarah had lost her job and her family wasn't going to bail her out, her dad made good on that threat. He was gone. No money, no Jake. Sarah called me from a blocked number that night. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. She was sobbing. I've lost everything. Sarah, my job, my family, Jake, my friends, even my apartment. I can't afford it without you. I'm sorry you're going through this. Are you? You did this. You ruined my life. No, Sarah. You did that. I just stopped keeping your secrets. I hate you. Okay. Aren't you gonna say anything else? What do you want me to say? You cheated for 3 months. You lied to everyone. You tried to get me fired. You harassed me. You made your choices. I was confused. Jake made me feel alive. And now you can feel alive by yourself. I'm hanging up now. Wait, please, can we just talk? As friends? We were never friends, Sarah. We were supposed to be partners. You treated me like an obstacle to your happiness. I'm done being that for you. I hung up, blocked the number, filed for the restraining order the next morning. Thanks to the police reports, the screenshots, and the security footage from my work, the judge granted a temporary order almost immediately. Sarah was served the next day. We have a court date next month for the permanent one. But for now, she legally can't come near me. It's been a few months now. Sarah moved back with her parents in another state. Last I heard from Mia, she's working retail and in therapy. Her family is letting her stay there, but things are still incredibly tense. Jake is couch surfing, apparently getting threatened with civil suits from a couple of the women he scammed. His Instagram is gone. Emma started dating a doctor from her hospital. Sent me a thank you card last week that just said, "You saved me years of my life." Her dad sent me an email. "Thank you for showing us who our daughter had become. We failed somewhere as parents. I hope you find someone who deserves you." And me? I'm in therapy, working through trust issues. Started rock climbing. Turns out I like boring activities. Adopted a cat who judges everyone as harshly as I now do. Named him Gatsby because he's mysterious and knocks expensive things off shelves. My coworkers still call me Screenshot King. Tom from accounting brings it up every happy hour. But here's the thing about revenge. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make you feel better. It just ends things. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people face the consequences of their own choices. I didn't ruin Sarah's life. I just stopped protecting her from herself. She called me boring. Maybe I am. But at least I'm boring with integrity, a good job, friends who actually like me, and a cat who only judges me a normal amount, and I sleep great at night. Funny how that works.